Wow, I already drank that whole shake? This is a beautifully pink piece of topaz. Now, finding pink topaz rough, which is facetable, is quite a challenge. For me, I can find brown topaz rough all day long in pretty much any size with a varying price ranges. The prices range wildly from inexpensive, which is probably the correct price, on up to those few rough sellers who try to claim that their brown topaz is really the rare and expensive imperial topaz, which of course, brown topaz is not imperial topaz. I can also easily find large, clean pieces of clear topaz at decent prices, and I can also easily find the various shades of blue topaz, including London blue, Swiss blue, electric blue, and even untreated natural light blue topaz, pretty much all sizes. But to find pink topaz, and with a vivid pink color like this one is, well, that's always a challenge. So when I do come across a really nicely colored piece of pink topaz like this one, I buy it up. Now, as I examined this piece for clarity, I did note that it's not internally flawless, but because the color is excellent and the price was really good, I can live with the piece not being flawless. It's just very hard to find pink topaz. So the shape of the rough is good. It's well shaped to cut a rectangle or emerald shape, and the size is also good. This piece of rough weighs in at 5.53 carats, and from my experience, I know that I can expect to cut a final gemstone of just over 1.5 carats. So let's get started in cutting this beautiful pink topaz. As I said earlier, the shape of this rough lends itself to being cut into an emerald or rectangular shape if I want to maximize the yield. So I looked through a lot of gem cutting diagrams, testing the performance, the brightness of the various gem designs using my Gem Cut Studio or GCS software. And I determined that for this particular gemstone, I like the design called Ideal Emerald, which was created by Stephen Weintraub Jr., and is in the public domain. You can find this design, like so many others, on fasteningdiagrams.org. But more and more, I'm using the United States Fasteners Guild, or the USFG website, where those designs are also kept. The good volunteers at the USFG have been working to save all of the old gem cutting diagrams by copying them to the USFG database at their website. So you don't have to be a member of the United States Fasteners Guild to access the Gem Fastening Diagram database, but I would recommend you join the U.S. Fasteners Guild and the other gem cutting groups and guilds out there, as they're a great group of people to associate with. Now, in the notes of this Ideal Emerald design, Stephen states that this design is good for gemstones with a refractive index of barrel on up, and what that simply means is I don't need to make any changes to the cutting angles of this design for it to work just fine with topaz. So let's start cutting. Okay, for our very pink topaz, we're going to put it into the quill of our Ultratech machine and use the brass dot retention screw here to tighten it up into place. But we want to orient it so that lengthwise and the width correspond with our index teeth. So for a 96 index, we want the length, the top to be at the 96, and the bottom to be at the 48. And then from the sides, the length, we want them to correspond to the 24 and the 72 teeth. So this stone's already well proportioned, nice piece of rough, already shaped like an emerald shape, a rectangular shape. So it fits right into our machine and we're ready to start cutting. Now, I think I could start with my 600 grit sintered lap, but I think there's a little bit of rough to move, and rather than the wear and tear on my rather expensive sintered lap, I'll start with a 320 grit topper lap. And topper laps are thin laps. You can buy them pretty much everywhere. To me, they're kind of disposable. They don't last, they last a while. But then when they're done, you just get rid of them. So 320 grit, there's no particular brand or no particular place that I use to get them from. A lot of them are made in China or wherever. Get them on Amazon or get them from your favorite lapidary dealer. But I'll start with a 320 grit topper. And a topper, because it's so thin, you need to have backing. And I use like a master lap. I use my ceramic lap as a master lap. Ceramic laps are very expensive and very finicky, and I never got it to work properly, so about half the people that use ceramic laps like them, and about half the people that bought them don't like them. So I will say they do make they are the flattest lap that I've got, so they do make a great master lap, although a rather expensive master lap. So just putting my topper lap on my machine, tightening it down, and we're ready to start cutting. Okay, so our pink topaz has really good color. Finished polishing the bottom part, or the pavilion. So now I'll transfer the stone and cut the upper half, or the crown. And coming along nicely, I cut this, I used a 320 grit topper to preform it a little bit. Then I went to my 600 grit sintered lap, which did a great job, and then 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap, and then I went to 60,000 grit diamond on a bat lap to polish it up. Polished right up, no problem. So now, like I said, I'll cut the upper half. So I've gone over the first 2 rows with my 3000 grit diamond on a bat lap on the upper half, the crown part of our gemstone. So now I'll cut the final row and then be ready to polish the upper half. Okay, the pink topaz polished right up with the 60,000 grit diamond on a bat lap. And one of the ways you get a really quick and good polish is by making sure your pre-polish is good. So when I pre-polished with 3000 grit diamond on bat lap, I made sure there's no scratches in it, no deep grooves from the pre-polish, so it was a good pre-polish, and then when you go to polish, it just polishes right up. Takes about 2 seconds on each facet. So now I'll set this stone up and cut the table, and I'll show you how to do that. Okay, to set up my stone to cut the table, the first thing I do is I find my flattest lap, and this is my ceramic lap, which I do not recommend you buying. About 50% of the cutters who bought a ceramic lap love it, and the other 50% really can't get it to work. It's a little finicky, and I'm in that 50% class that can't get it to work. So the good thing is that it is the flattest lap that I know of, so it's good for other things, but I wouldn't buy it for that purpose. Anyway, you get a flat surface, in this case my ceramic lap, and the next step is to remove the stone from the dop in the stone from your machine. Just loosen the dop retention screw, remove your stone, your dop, and then you can either take your brass dop retention screw out like I did for many years, or actually you can just screw it in so that it's in further than the spindle, so it's out of the way, and that way you don't lose it. You just screw it in and it's good to go. The next step is you set your angle at 45 degrees. Set your angle at 45 degrees. Now the index tooth that I use, I just set my index tooth at the 96 tooth every time. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter at all, but I do it for consistency. I always set it at 96. Actually, the next step is to take the table adapter, which comes with your Ultratech. This is the table adapter and your table aligner. The table adapter is a 45-degree adapter. So since we put our angle at 45 degrees and we have a 45-degree adapter, that's going to give us a flat spot right here on the bottom to make our table. So you slide your table adapter over your spindle, and you put in your table aligner. And for me, I turn my table aligner diagonal. That gives me more space against my lap to help make it ensure that it's flat from side to side, and flat from front to back is done by setting your angle at 45. So then these two retention screws you tighten up. That will hold your table adapter in place. And then you put your stone with the dot right in here and tighten up that set screw, and you're ready to cut your table. Okay, so the table polished right up. So now I'll soak our pink topaz in acetone to remove the UV activated super glue, and then we'll be able to weigh it and measure it and send it off to BOPIE. This topaz is a spectacular shade of pink. It is not often that I come across cuttable pieces of pink topaz rough, and I was lucky to find this piece. I've built up quite a network of rough dealers over the years, and some of them do contact me when they come across a particular piece of rough that they know I'm always looking for, like pink topaz, and that's how I picked up this piece. This piece of topaz was already shaped like a rectangle, so I was able to get 1.5 carat gemstone out of this rough, which I was hoping to do. The design, Ideal Emerald, is a standard step cut or rectangular design, which any cutter should be able to cut, even a brand new cutter. So I would recommend you give this design a try. Now, topaz, they say, it does have perfect cleavage, and a lot of cutters worry about that when they're fasting, because it's sometimes very hard to facet if you hit that cleavage plane. I say you just have to be aware of the perfect cleavage of topaz, but I've rarely found that to be an issue. Topaz, honestly, it just seems like more of a talking point among cutters to worry about the cleavage plane. In actually cutting it, I haven't found that to be a hindrance at all. I find topaz to cut and polish very easily, and the best way to ensure a good polish is to make sure you have a good pre-polish before attempting to polish. So I think topaz is fine to cut, but please let me know in the comments what you think of my pink topaz and of this design. And as always, happy fasting, everyone.